My friends, I have something to tell you. At the time of writing this, I am unemployed. I have been applying to jobs left and right for months now, and I gotta tell you, my life is starting to feel like a pop song. Despite these dark days, I am still waiting, and trying not to think of any morbid stuff. I need at least one of you to tell me that those jokes landed. I'm beginning to have some doubts. Real quick, this is not a video of me asking for help. I just needed to introduce the context. The more I look for jobs, the less interested I become in those jobs. Sure, I could apply to the 70th receptionist position on Indeed, and if I'm lucky, get a rejection letter 3 months later. But you know what I really want to do? Hunt monsters and sell their parts in my little shop. My name is Winton, and I have no interest in going to a corporate job where I take meetings all day and do several PowerPoints. I don't care about standing behind a hot stove and cooking food for tips so that I can come home smelling like grease every day. I want to pick up a sword and use it to cut a golem up so that I can sell his power core at my shop. I want to nail a plant monster between the eyes with an arrow so that I can take her vines and place them in a little glass display case for someone to come by. Is that too much to ask? Maybe in real life it is. But not in Moonlighter, a game by 11-bit studios that I just cannot seem to put down. That is exactly what goes on in this little town of Wyntonic, a village that used to be home to a bunch of dungeons that explorers would frequent on the daily. Well, technically speaking, those dungeons are still there. They've just been boarded up after years of disuse. You play as Will, a young man intent on learning the secrets of the dungeon and following in the footsteps of someone named Crazy Pete, who left notes and campsites all over the place. Quick side note. If you're taking on a quest and the last person who did that disappeared and people call them crazy like it's their first name, you should probably get life insurance or something. Anyway, Will runs a little shop in Wyntonic, but he doesn't have any products to sell. Oops. Unfortunately, Will can't just call up his local PepsiCo representative, so looks like it's time to go down into those dungeons. There is all sorts of stuff going on down here, including golems, little walking pots that shoot blasts of water at you, and even drones. The more you explore, the more you find stuff to take back to your little shop. There are even secret rooms hidden under the normal ones, and level bosses that drop huge handfuls of expensive stuff. Will's backpack is only so big though, and once it's full, you'll have to activate your little talisman to pop back up above ground. Once the sun has risen, we get to my favorite part, which I would do anything to make my real job. Will must take his spoils of victory and place them neatly on his little display tables, setting the prices as he does so. How do you know how much everything is worth? Well, why don't you figure it out for yourself? That's not a jab at you, the audience, by the way. One of my favorite aspects of gameplay is that you literally have to figure out how much everything costs on your own. How much is someone willing to pay for a vine, or a glowing rock, or a little pile of acid? Hold on, that's real? What are the FDA standards on literal acid? Regardless, throw it on the shelf and try to figure out what customers might think would be a good price for it. As people look at your wares, the faces they make will tell you what's good and what might get you a bad Yelp review for price gouging. Too much to keep track of? No worries. The game will keep track of it for you in your handy little notebook. Once you figure out a good price, the game will even automatically set your items to that as soon as you throw them on the floor. Handy. I love this, truly. I love pushing my prices up by just $5 or $10 to see what I can get away with. Oh, you like a $20 pair of shoes? How about 21? Maybe 22. What if I set them to $45? Oh, nope, that pissed somebody off. Well, time to sell at a loss. Sorry, Ma. Once the day is over, you get a neat little report on what you sold and if anybody managed to steal anything. I know everybody's favorite part of action RPGs is the expense reports, after all. Now that you've got that nice little chunk of cash, you better believe there's a big list of stuff to spend it on. First off, let's put some life back into this town. Maybe you can get a blacksmith who will make you some better gear so you can dive deeper into those dungeons? Check. How about a girl who makes potions and upgrades that gear? Check. What about a dude who sells you the stuff that you're already selling to people, but at like a 900% markup? Well, they say that competition is healthy, and this guy certainly makes your prices look good, so checkity check check. Of course, you'll also need to spend some of that money on your own shop. You need a bigger bed, and more tables, and a heavier cash register. Ah, looks like you're out of money. Better go back into those dungeons. What's that? You have too much stuff? Well, I guess you better buy a bigger shop with more chests in it. Dang, that was expensive. Guess it's time to go back into the dungeons. Ah, man, is that dungeon too hard? Guess you better sell some more stuff so you can buy better gear. Now you can finally beat the boss, and look at all that stuff it gave you. Aw, man. Guess you better go back to your shop and sell it. This gameplay loop is engaging as hell. While I'm down in the dungeon, I might be thinking about the dangers that I need to face, but I'm also thinking about what's worth bringing back up. Should I work some overtime and go into another room to see what else I can find? Or should I maybe do some inventory management and find a magical chest that'll warp my stuff back home for me so I can keep exploring? If I can't find that chest, I'm gonna need to decide whether Gladys from down the road would prefer an old pot or a stick of metal. She did get the pro rewards card after all. Do you see what I'm getting at here? This truly is a fast-paced work environment, and unlike all the listings online, that doesn't mean that some middle-aged loser who failed upwards into their role is going to spend hours of my day yelling at me for not bothering more customers who would rather die than make eye contact with me. This is the first position in history where the satisfaction of a job well done is actually a benefit. Never before has there actually been a job where I truly get to make my own hours and support my community at the same time. I don't even have to pay income tax. Moonlighting is the American dream. Moonlighting is my dream. Someone please hire me to kill monsters for them. If I have to spend 1 more minute submitting a resume and then clicking next and then typing in the same stuff that was already on the resume I just submitted on the last page, I'm gonna launch myself into the sun. Thanks for watching this one. I just kind of wanted to make something short and fun. Don't forget to slap those like and subscribe buttons, huh? And check out my Patreon and my coffee if you've got a second. I'll see y'all next time. So long, my friends, and good luck in those dungeons. I mean, cubicles.